Hey y'all, thanks so much for stopping back by my YouTube channel. If it's your first time here, welcome. My name is Lori Livers. I know, it looks like livers, it sounds like livers. I don't know why, that's just the way we say it. So my name is Lori Livers. This channel is all about how I'm using rental properties to create almost completely passive income for me and my family. It's also about DIY home improvement and planning and organizing, because I feel like planning and organizing makes all the other stuff possible. And that is what has allowed me to step away from the 9-to-5, leave that behind, and live the life I want to live, not the life I thought I had to live. So I hope this sounds interesting to you. If so, please do hit that subscribe button down below and ring the bell so you can be notified of all the future videos, and you'll know when it's time to come back and hang out. If not, that's okay. Just keep us in mind. Keep me in mind. I always say us. I don't know why, but whatever. Keep me in mind and come back and visit. Maybe you'll want to subscribe then. So today's video is the second in my BRRRR investment strategy series. The BRRRR strategy is buy, rehab, rent, refi, and repeat. And this is a strategy I'm using to grow my rental portfolio. And today's video is about the first R in the BRRRR strategy, the rehab. Rehab is my absolutely most favorite part of this strategy. It is stressful sometimes, but usually not, because like I said, I'm a planner. So by the time I get to the rehab part of a property, I have already planned and I've gotten really into the details, so I'm pretty well prepared. Sometimes you uncover things that you just can't prepare for and you deal with it on the fly. If everything went according to plan, life would be boring, and I don't have a boring life. I'm sure you probably don't have a boring life either, so we plan for what we can and then we roll with it when we can't plan for it. So anyway, the first thing I do when I am planning for a rehab is determine my budget. And I do this by using the numbers I've already identified in my buying process. And I'll leave a link to the buy video down below if you want to check that out. So the numbers I'm using are first of all, my ARV, and ARV stands for after repair value. That is what my house is supposed to be worth when I get all done with my rehab. And in this particular instance, my ARV is $155,000. The next number is the number I bought the house for. So that's $90,000 in this instance. So I bought an ARV house of $155,000 for $90,000, leaving a difference of $65,000. Now I know I'm going to spend $20,000 to $25,000 getting into this house. So I want to make sure I have at least that much equity in addition to the money that I'm spending to get into the house, because that's my strategy. So if I take $155,000 and I subtract the $90,000 that I paid for the house, I'm left with $65,000. And if I subtract from that $65,000 the $25,000 minimum additional equity that I want to have, because that's the amount of cash I'm going to spend, I'm left with a $40,000 rehab budget. There's a lot of different ways, and a lot of investors go about coming to their rehab budget in different ways, but this is the strategy that I've used a few times now, several times, and it's worked really, really well for me. So I'm pretty excited about it, and I'm pretty comfortable with it. I know there's other options, but this is what works for me, so this is what I'm doing. So now that I've determined my rehab budget, the first thing I need to do is review my inspection report. I'm going through my inspection report to identify anything safety related or structural related, because those have got to be the top priority in my rehab process. Here, I can show you the inspection report for the house that I've been talking with you about. You can see from this inspection report that the electrical panel is a severe fire hazard. This particular panel from this time period when the house was built and this brand is known to be a significant fire hazard, so this has got to go. You can also see from the photos in the inspection report that the current tenants are stringing electrical extension cords from one room to the next to try to function in this home, and that's absolutely not acceptable. It's not safe and it's not acceptable, and it's something that's got to be addressed. The other thing you can see in this inspection report is they've come up with some creative plumbing solutions, but they're not true solutions, so the plumbing issues have got to be addressed. So in reviewing my inspection report, I see that I have several issues in this house. That I've got an electrical fire hazard in this electrical panel. I've got some plumbing deficiencies. The house as it sits now is just not safe. It's not healthy. It's certainly not comfortable for a potential tenant. So all of those safety and structural issues have to come first when figuring out how I'm going to allocate my rehab budget. Then with the remaining budget, I get to do the fun part. I get to determine what my finishes are going to be. And this is a part I really, really enjoy. I have a background in home staging, and so this is a part of the process that I really enjoy, picking out the light fixtures and choosing the flooring and the countertops, all the finishes that make a house attractive for a potential tenant. So this is a lot of fun for me. This is also where I have to be very, very careful, because I can very easily overrun a budget and over improve a property when it just doesn't make sense. And anytime you're spending money on something in an investment property that's not going to bring you additional rent, you're just spending money to spend money. You're no longer investing. And that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for my budget. It doesn't make sense for my strategy. It certainly doesn't create cash flow. It doesn't meet any of my priorities for why I got into doing this in the first place. So that's something I have to be careful of. I can promise you, you can put the most expensive granite you can find in a house, but if it's not typical for that neighborhood, a tenant is not going to pay a dime more because you spent 10 times more on granite than you should have. So it's something to be aware of, is you really have to be careful not to over improve your property for the area that it's in. Now, with that being said, I do have some standard items that I put in every house that I rehab. I use luxury vinyl flooring. It looks like wood, which attracts potential tenants, but it functions like vinyl, which is also really attractive to potential tenants because it makes that house very pet friendly. And in my world, pets are part of the family, and I don't want a family to not be interested in renting my property because it's not pet friendly. So I do everything I can to make my homes as pet friendly as possible. I put in granite countertops because I find them to be so much more durable than Formica countertops. So even if I am choosing an investment property that is in a neighborhood where Formica countertops are the norm, I will put in a basic builder grade granite just because it's much more durable, and that's something that's very attractive. That is not much more expensive than Formica countertops are, and it's something that I find to really be worth the couple $100 extra because it is so much durable, so much more durable. Now, sometimes things do come up in the rehab that just have to be addressed that you didn't plan for. So I always do leave a little bit of a contingency in my budget to deal with those things. And there are lots of ways to cut your rehab budget. If you find yourself bumping up against the top end of your budget, know that there are a lot of ways to really make the best use of your dollars and try to keep your budget in line. One of those things is, your vent covers. You probably have 15, 20 vent covers in an average house. Ideally, you would love to be able to replace every one of them, but if you're bumping up against the top end of your budget, that may just not be possible. So it's not going to hurt anything to take down all of those vent covers, scrub them and clean them up, and have them repainted and put them right back up. They will look almost brand new and still function just the way you need them to. And so that's a good way, and one of the many ways, to really save money in your rehab budget. So for today, no, the most important thing in your rehab is setting a budget, a realistic budget, how to do that, and knowing how to allocate that budget to safety first, and then structure, and then the things that make the house attractive to potential tenants. And the most important thing in making a house attractive is do not over improve that house for the neighborhood it's sitting in, because it will not make you any extra money. A lot of other tips and tricks in keeping a rehab budget on track and making the very most of a tight budget. Because in a lot of these properties, the reality is the budget does get pretty tight. And I look forward to sharing all of that with you in future videos. So I hope this has all been interesting to you. The next video is all about the rent, how to start creating that cash flow and how to go about finding and choosing the best tenants for your property. I look forward to sharing all of that with you, and I hope you want to hang out for a few minutes and hear all about that as well. So please do hit that subscribe button down below and ring the bell so that you'll know when the videos come out. Thanks for stopping by today. I hope you'll be back. Until then, bye y'all. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so this has gone off the rails. Well, how do you know your video has gone completely off the rails? When you forgot what you're talking about and you're watching the birds fly outside the window. But this is really important to me. So, back to it. Okay. Because I want to make sure I have at least, sorry, something flying around in here. Whatever, that needs to go away. Okay. What is this? There is a fly in this room and I've never caught a fly in my whole life, but now I think I'm going to do it on camera. Okay. Anyway.